Hey guys, welcome to my Twine Peaks Self-Defense 4 walkthrough video.
Jump.
Today we're going to be doing Amplifier C. You'll have a few choices to place Amplifier C. You could place it over by Amplifier E, over by Amplifier H, or down here is Amplifier C. A lot of people don't like to choose this option. It's risky to say the least. It doesn't look very appealing. It's down in a crater. It's probably the most discouraging location they could have put in with how they build up every other zone and every other amplifier in the game. So it's understandable why people would be hesitant to choose this one. Eventually, everybody has to place it eventually. Whether that's as your last amplifier or as your third one, entirely your choice. However, for this one, we're going to place it as our third amplifier, and there are two reasons for that. One of them is because, one, who doesn't like a challenge, and two, this is actually the easiest amplifier to defend out of every single one of them. Now, it's because of the build that I personally use that makes that perfectly easy, so I'm going to walk you through the steps to craft that build. And it all starts at the bottom. Again, we're going to start with tier 3 metal all around.
Upward. Away. Can't.
Oops. Probably don't want to leave that hole there.
You serious? No.
This is where it's nice to play as a ninja. You just double jump around everywhere. Now, for the sake of this video and to save on resources, I'm only going to take it to tier 2 metal. But on your amplifier, you definitely want to take it to tier 3. One. That'd be that. Then yes. Right? Yeah. Okay. Just gonna want to fill this in, guys. This is where stuff kind of starts getting a little bit more complicated. And you gotta take every single piece of metal to tier 3, guys. Keep in mind that my builds are very streamlined. They're meant so you use the bare minimum. Part of that means you kind of have to keep up with the trap level, and your tech damage has to be a little bit optimal. But I'm a free-to-play player, so I don't have a lot of legendary survivors like a lot of other players do. Actually, drop down here and place some walls. So my tech wasn't actually that good when I did my Storm Shield Defense 10. I really had to rely on building myself, which is why I ended up with builds that are, you know, more efficient, more deadly, pretty much all around better than any other build in the game right now. At least for Twine Peaks. Obviously this is going a little bit faster than it will for you, because I don't have to put it to tier 3, because I'm just doing this for a tutorial, so I don't. Actually, I might need that wall, so I'm just gonna put it to there.
Sorry.
Basically what we're doing is we're layering it so that this is the lowest point, or this is the weakest point that they could attack. We're just gonna do our best here, actually.
You serious?
Hopefully you're keeping up
No.
at this point. If you can't, I'd recommend slowing down the video. YouTube has this option where you could slow down the video. I know I build a little bit fast for some, but
Upward.
it's because I know this build inside and out. I could probably try and slow down actually, but oh, that's right. I got to can't forget these walls on the inside, guys. They are 100% necessary, except for those outside walls. Don't need those. Oops. These outside walls, however, you do need. Just when they're up against that rock face that you don't really need them.
Can't.
And again, it is quite a few structures, but it's security on top of everything. On the base here, we're just gonna put some dynamos, lots and lots of dynamos. We're gonna put retractable floor spikes, which I need to craft. There we go. Looks like I have some extra traps from my missions here. That's fine. You want to craft a jump pad. Actually, you probably want to craft a few of them for this one. For now, though, I'm just going to double jump out.
That'll get it done.
Go like so. It's important to leave this centerpiece open. So down here, they're going to come around from this side to the west. Don't really want to put a ceiling on top here, just in case they fall down at an angle. Saves you some structures. This one I think I'm a little bit wasteful on structures as opposed to my other ones, which are very bare minimum, need them kind of deal. You also don't want to put anything that can. This might be a no-no actually. You don't want anything to come from the top up there. And generally they won't fall 3 squares if they don't have to. So what they're gonna end up doing is they're gonna end up pathing around here. And they can come from the end of here. Oh, Epic still has this bugged. Used to be you could put, if you watch my Storm Shield Defense 9, you'll see that I can actually place traps there, but for some reason on this one, ever since they came out with an update, I forget which one, but it just hasn't been possible. Now this is something you want to block off, and your positioning is going to be incredibly important to making sure that this survives. I'll go over that in a little bit here, but now we're just going to block it off.
Upward.
some floor launchers here. Get into the wild floor launchers are there in a moment. Because there's a lot of propane tanks that spawn this way. So you really... Oh, I'm out of metal already, guys. You see? See how intensive this one is? Are you kidding me, bro? It's not streaming. Is it streaming? Okay, it is streaming. Alright, alright. Crisis averted. It just wasn't showing up as streaming. That's kind of weird. Anyways, we're gonna grab some more metal and we're gonna finish this off. Pardon my French earlier. I thought I just blew through considerable amounts of resources. Once you place C, they won't ever attack B from the west, so you can destroy everything that we built on B. On my last tutorial video, all the ceiling drop traps and wall launchers that you built, you could destroy. While we're up here, actually, we can... Oh, let's use this wall. Yeah, I'll walk across that. That's not something I actually wanted to block off there. Made it. Like I said, they'll be coming from this way, so I want to try and block them off if we can. Alternate our trap times, so we see the wall dynamos have 12 seconds, the wall darts have 5. Again, very common concepts that I've talked about in my previous videos. We're going to use double gas on this one, just because there's not going to be a lot of volume coming through, but in case anything drops down to the bottom, better be safe than sorry kind of thing. Up and down. Put one of those drop traps, and I cover my drop traps in my Storm Shield Defense 3 walkthrough. I will make a hefty trap video after this so that everybody knows, because it seems nobody has decent traps anymore, and there's a whole lot of misinformation out there. So we're gonna cover that all. Nope, that's not what I wanted to put on that one. Doing some Outlander work. All these you want to put to tier 2.
Wish I could.
Sometimes propane spawn, and for some reason they're super finicky about going into this one hole. Sometimes they'll path all the way around here and just chuck their propanes at this. That's why we multi-layer that wall. It's not like they'll actually break through eventually, but it's just a hassle. See dynamos. Launch against this wall. Again, my wall launchers, they utilize triple reload and double impact. They're legacy rolls, but if you have fully legendary perks on yours, if you have, you know, 2 reloads fully legendary, you're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Now I'm going to put wooden floor spikes down here. Once you get up to 8 or 9, you're probably going to want to replace these with either 130 floor spikes or 106 retractable floor spikes, possibly even 130s. And I'm going to alternate. I'm going to create my little 1x1 masterpiece tunnel.
Let's build. Nope. Wish I could.
I was so happy I chose this amplifier because sure I would get them to path down this tunnel, but they do. And it shows up in my videos.
Can't.
Anyways, we're gonna stick dynamos opposite your wall launchers. And even though we can't do one on the other one. Now here's the thing, when they attack this, a little bit more. Again, we gotta take this to level 3, so we're gonna upgrade this. As I was saying earlier, sorry, there's a chance that they could spawn propanes here, so if they spawn propanes, what you want to do is you want to replace these with retractable floor spikes before the wave, and then you want to elongate these walls so that the enemies don't stay so congested in the tunnel, and they'll just kind of walk around, and it'll still hold about, you know, 10% or 15% on each square, and as obviously they come around, you know, by the end of it you got about 70%. Your base will go on this square. You want a wall launcher here, a wall launcher there. Dynamos. It's important not to let the... Actually, you're gonna want... There's one place you're gonna want it right here. That way the propane tanks will come at you before they throw it, because otherwise they'll stand right about here and then they'll throw it at the base, because remember, the propanes will throw it at whatever's attached to the base, so this whole thing is counted as the base because it's attached to it. This is the lowest point, the propanes won't come here and then their feet kind of thing. So it's important to really stay on top of the propanes as they come out. Don't shoot them in the tunnel because then they'll fire at you. Don't stand in front of the tunnel because then they'll throw it at you. Just place your base, stand right here. This is the position you need to hold for like the full wave. Swear to God, it'll work out. You'll see. But if you don't hold that position, let's say you go 2 squares to the left. Let's say you stand here. Your entire defense will fail. This is how finicky positions is when doing your Twine Peaks Storm Shield solo. And I'll go over why it's going to fail in just a sec here. Finish off these. Not going to put a trap there because that's where the base is going to go. Alright, so if you stand here, they're going to throw propane tanks at you because they'll see you. And the wall launchers, while God rolls for legacy rolls, aren't God enough to stop them from throwing propanes at you. So if you stand here, they won't throw it at you. You'll be good. I wouldn't even peek around. I'd just kind of sit here, and then if they come here, you just shoot them kind of thing. But if you stand 2 squares to the left, if you jump over there, what's going to happen is they're going to start this because they spawn like right here. And then they move around to here. They spawn right, I think this is about the farthest they spawned, is right about here. They don't even really spawn on eye. It's kind of like right here. So it's not a big deal. But they 110% spawn. Just right beside the barricade. And you don't want them going over because then you kind of have like a tidal wave of zombies. So what you want to do is you want to put wall launchers on these. It'll act as a deterrent as well as... oh, there's a good bit of lag right there. Push some range where they would path to the tunnel. And then you see this is why we put floor launchers here as well. We're going to double up on stairs. 100% make everything here. If you really wanted to, you could add another one right here. Not a big difference. You don't need a wall launcher on that last one. Because if you put a wall launcher there and it's anything higher than blue perks, so we'll just toss them onto that and they'll walk across and it'll be pointless. But if you just put this here, then they'll beat against these anyways. All these do is prevent, or deter them, I should say, from attacking this. You could put a wall launcher on that side wall anyways, just to chuck them down the line. Because eventually they'll probably focus on the corner piece anyways. Quickest route sort of thing. But that'll be fine. But that's only if you're going to, you know, if you're going to stand 2 squares to the left down there at the end of the tunnel. Then you'll find that it's a little bit difficult. Cover the geyser here. I'll cover that. If anything jumps down here, they're gonna act like a player anyway, so they're just gonna hit the geyser. It's kind of funny when a smasher does it. There is a small gap where they can kind of come through here though. So add a wall launcher. One here. And oh, I was gonna put wall darts there. And gas trap. I'm gonna put a couple wood walls there so they don't round around that corner, so they go underneath the gas trap if it spawns. More than enough to stop anything that, because the only thing that's gonna get past these are gonna be zombies on the north side. So if they really path differently and they don't path down here, by the way, soldiers watch closely. These are jump pads. You put one down where you can't jump, and then you can jump. Look at that. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, the only thing that'll go over your top of your head is flinger zombies, and those are really easy to kill. So if they fall between a crack here, and they can land in between there, and they go down to the amplifier, then you're all set. And again, I don't want to place too much here. Go like so. This side is super finicky about, sorry, that I should say, is super finicky about propane tanks. So you don't want propane tanks to get down to the west side, which is easy enough to do actually. Now in my Twine Peaks Storm Shield Defense 3 walkthrough, I did explain the use of 130 launchers as opposed to 106s. For instance, these 106s that are fully legendary will act like 130s. They'll toss them back 3 squares, but if you don't have fully legendary ones, or if you already have 130 wall launchers, they'll toss them back the full 3 squares here anyways. So we're gonna take advantage of the full 3 squares here just because there's a rock wall behind this wall, and then they can't actually get through that, so they're not gonna bother. So it'll still be a 2 square essentially. And we don't want to block off this last part. You don't need 130 gas traps for this. Maybe if you're trying to do 8 or 9, put gas traps there, but otherwise you're okay. As far as the bottom goes, you could basically put retractable floor spikes.
Double jump.
Okay, so now we're moving on up. We noticed that Jarhead clan again can't come up here, so what we're gonna do here, put a jump pad. Now your shield's gonna come, it's gonna stop right about here. This is where your shield's gonna stop. against it and then build outside of it, that'll be fine. And then what you want to do is you want to wait for it to stop, and then you want to take out your building book again, and you could actually upgrade it as you go along. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you're going to want to put to level 3 because they spawn as close as right here. Maybe even like a little bit closer. And when before the wave starts, what you're going to do is you want to rush out here and you want to put some wall launchers on these. But for the sake of this video, you can take it to level 2. If you can put wall launchers on these, by all means. I think I just put my super ones on this. I did. That's okay. What we're going to do is we're just going to block it off. That floor was actually not useful at all.
Yes.
Block it off, and again we're multi-layering, so there's
No.
in case there's any kind of element, nature or what have you, we're covered. And yes, you do want to take it this far back. It's it gets messy. But if all that's level 3, you should be okay. You probably won't even need these 2 wall launchers, but it doesn't hurt to put on. These are the extra structures that I talk about when I'm doing all this. Yeah, okay. This comes right here. Yeah. All right. No, yeah, okay. Gotta do that. You also gotta put a wall here. No you don't, you gotta put a wall there.
Can't.
Alright, so we are just building some trap tunnel here. Very formative stages of it. As far as your storm shield goes, this is probably these 2 tiles you might not be able to place. That's fine. You really don't need that many, but again, you want propane tanks out. Let's see here. This is where things get a little bit tricky. You want to block off any kind of route the smashers might pick to drop down on top of anything that's overhanging. So that's why we built bottom up as opposed to top to bottom kind of thing. Again, we want to put a jar head pad here.
Sorry. Curious.
As far as walls go, we want this one to be our half wall. We want this one to be a full wall. And again, everything here is going to go to 3. But for now, we're just going to take this to 2. Don't really have too much of an issue with lobbers here. They don't really get close enough to the base to deal a whole lot of damage. Definitely want to put walls here and here. This is where wall darts go, and then if you remember my past videos, we talk about how wall darts fire through stairs. So we're gonna put some stairs. Little tip there is if you break out your editing tool, you can upgrade from a distance that you normally wouldn't be able to. I have 130, so I can make this 3 squares, but 2 squares is absolutely fine if you only have 106s. I'm actually only going to make this because that's all that's necessary. I'm going to fully dynamo these though. Absolutely as much damage as you can on the smashers. And I'm going to put some drop traps on the rim. If you can place those outside too, then you should be able to put ceiling drop traps on them. You just kind of have to aim for the corner of the piece, even though it's kind of cutting out of the storm shield on your storm shield defense 4. So don't worry too much about that. 106 floor spikes, because we all know floor spikes are my favorite trap. Don't forget these walls. Actually, these walls are necessary. Actually, we're going to go with this one on this. On that. Tractables. More dynamos. Gonna put the ceiling up top there. Upgrade this first. And here we go. Now we got our doorway. We got our in, if you will, in the storm shield. I'm gonna put stairs there. And pretty much all you're gonna do to get up here, if you want to get up here at all, because there's a lot of propanes. You generally want to sit back a little bit here. You just jump up, you ignore the giant blinding light that is the storm shield because you're 3 or 4 squares above it now, if not 5. You just walk across, through your doors, and now you're in your tunnel kind of thing. As far as traps go, you want to fully gas this out. Everything's being CC'd and there's so much traffic that you want gas traps on these main squares, especially at the start of the tunnel, to provide as much damage as possible, as well as affliction damage. And obviously we have a lot of CC to keep them possible so that the crit rating and crit damage that I have on my gas traps, as well as my drop traps you see there, can really take effect, because that only takes effect while they're sitting underneath it, not the affliction damage that they take afterwards. So we got our retractable floor spikes, we got our partitioned walls here. You only need to take to level 3. Necessary walls. If you really wanted to, you could add another block here. A little bit of added security so that they don't come at it. Now this is the drop trap, if I'm not mistaken, that I'm standing on. So there's just a drop there. So what'll happen is if they come at all, it'll be from the inside and then the inside here, which is why we have this facing towards this direction. So we really don't need this outside part, but if you're really feeling insecure, or if you have really low tech damage, like let's say you're level 50 trying to do this now, they made that possible, you can. I'm gonna put a jar head pad down here just because I put some stairs here, just so things wouldn't come through. I think I'm gonna do that here as well. Now that we have so much protection up top, we don't really need it. So that jump pad is now negligible, and I'm not gonna go back and destroy it, but you don't have to put it there. Alright, so this side is about 80% complete. I know, it's daunting, right? It's about 80%. However, that's what we got. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what's not complete. side over here. Oh, got our drop trap. You want to put it one square above so that it's not hanging on the defense of the smashers itself, because smashers can path. They got weird pathing on this one, but they'll just take it if they can. That's why you also want to put some wall launchers up here. Wall launchers right there. And I'm gonna put some gas traps here because we pathed that enough up there, I think, where it's probably possible. I'm also gonna put some upside down stairs here so smashers and propanes don't throw it at that. But as far as this goes, as far as positioning goes, you want to put your base here and stand on it. If they attack from the west side, see a little bit of a double jump there. Put your base right here. This will be right above your wall launcher into your 2 square, possibly. And then you also want to here, possibly 3, just to block them into the tunnel so they don't glitch on top of it, because that'll happen. We'll put some dynamos at the bottom, some retractables. At this point, if they make it through, it's all damage that you want, so that's what you get. I mean, you could put a wall launcher right here and put them into a 2x2 room if you're having problems taking them out. However, they don't attack this after you place this amplifier. So you'll see that I put this one relatively early. If you know your alphabet really well, it's I think it's like my 3rd or 2nd last, but yeah, you see eyes over there. Once you put F there, or that position, whichever amplifier you place there, they'll stop attacking the west side of this one. So you don't really have the chance to face really high level enemies unless you abstain from placing F itself.
Can't.
With some dynamos. I swear I've never called them dynamos before, but it's sticking with me. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Yeah, you see the partition wall at the top there, a little bit longer. These to level 3, but I'm gonna put to save me some resources. And that's our amplifier C. Now, amplifier C is kind of where it starts to branch out for everybody. So if you amplifier, that's fine. Just look for one of my later Twine Peaks tutorial videos. I'll do them periodically. And I mean, for the common ones, or for the ones that give you a chance to place the other ones. So for amplifier E, H, for me at least, the ones over there. Ooh, this is interesting. Dodge video. We'll get to it. E's pretty close. I'm gonna do D eventually. D is my next one, and then after D, I'll do a tutorial video for E, and then I'll do one for and then for F. I don't know if I can do F and G because the storm shield it's really hugging it on those sides, but those ones are very straightforward. As well, I did go over them thoroughly in my Twine Peaks 10 walkthrough. So if you really want to do F and G, go to that. But if you placed your amplifier C in the position of H or E over here, just kind of to the south of A, or where I put my at least, then you're only going to have trouble defending the east wave. You can look at my Twine Peaks Storm Shield Defense 10 walkthrough and you'll see it. But I just didn't build towards the eastern side.
Double jump.
I got attacked from south on both of these because I placed them so much later. So I didn't really have to worry too much. It's not that I didn't build defenses to the east on H, but for E, I didn't even bother.
Upward.
Well, actually, I built a little kill tunnel here, but it was 4 or 5 squares long. It was really easy to do. But I'll do another video in a bit, guys. So just stay with me, and I'll sort it out for you. But in the meantime, that is our Twine Peaks Storm Shield Defense 4 walkthrough for Amplifier C. And again, you really want to build that C1 in the crater if you can. If you haven't, again, that's fine. But that C in the crater, or whichever amplifier you put in that crater, is going to with the and I'll see you again for Amplifier D. Thanks for